Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving will be in Brooklyn next season. Now, I wasn't told that definitively. I wasn't told the Nets are not trading these guys. The Nets will not trade these guys. In fact, they are open to trading them. But when I'm told what they're looking to get, who's available on the market, and the fact that unlike Nick Wright, the Nets understand they have all of the leverage. Not a little bit, not most, all of the leverage over Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. That I believe it with all my heart, young man. And all of that combined, Jenna, leads me to believe that the chances are best that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving start the season with the Brooklyn Nets. First of all, what the Nets are looking for is an absolute haul. And they're not going to settle for anything less. Okay? Especially in light of what Utah got for Rudy Gobert. What, 5 players, 5 first-round picks? All right, so they want a number of first-round picks. They want a young star or 2. And if they don't get that, they're not moving Kevin Durant. And their feeling, Nick, is that Kevin Durant loves basketball so much, which he does, that he will not sit out his age 34 season a la Ben Simmons. Okay? And then you look at this list. We've seen it before, Nick, but it's worth looking at again. Look at the list of guys that can't be traded to the Nets as long as Ben Simmons is on the floor. The Nets would want half of those guys at least. Hey, almost all those guys would be guys the Nets would want if they were to deal Kevin Durant. And none of them are available to them as long as Ben Simmons is on the roster, and he's untradeable. So Bam Adebayo, that almost takes Miami out. Andrew Wiggins may take Golden State out. You see, Devin Booker could take Phoenix out. So, Nick, I think and the other thing about the Nets, Nick, is they are building, and you see it, they don't want to bottom out. They're building a roster that obviously they added TJ Warren yesterday. They got Royce O'Neal. Obviously, they feel like it's great around their 3 stars, Kyrie, KD, and Ben Simmons. But even without those guys, they feel like it's a decent roster. And so they're not trying to do what Utah may end up doing and bottom out.
Well, because they
can't. Nick, I believe they could trade. Here's the last thing I got to say before you go. I'm told I don't believe they have any interest in Russell Westbrook, even as a salary dump, because Kyrie Irving could end up being a salary dump if they want to go that route.
They keep telling people that.
So the Lakers will have to find a 3 or 4 team deal. They'll have to find a 3 or 4 team deal to get this done and get Kyrie Irving to the Lakers, and that's going to be tough to do.
Okay, so listen, when I said they can't bottom out, it's because they don't have their own picks. They are reverse incentivized to bottom out. Utah is incentivized to bottom out. They are not. So when I look at TJ Warren and Royce O'Neal, I don't look at a team that's trying to surround Kevin Durant with other forwards. I look at a team that's trying to replace Kevin Durant's minutes as he was the only true forward on the roster. So I am not doubting 1% that you are reporting accurately exactly what you're hearing. I am very curious about why there seem to be voices throughout the NBA, not media, but NBA decision makers, that really, really want the world to know, we will hold the line. And in fact, when it comes to Kyrie Irving, there's a lot of teams interested. No, there's not. I mean, I can tell you right now, somebody was whispering in a lot of people's ears, Philly was interested in Kyrie Irving. Philly once upon a time was interested in Kyrie Irving back when they were trying to trade Ben Simmons. But from the moment James Harden got there, maybe it's coincidental, maybe it's not, who knows? They seem to cool quite a bit on Kyrie Irving interest. In fact, they have none. Yet, it was reported they had talks about it. And now, Brew, and I'm hearing it in other places as well, not that I would need to confirm Brew's reporting, but I heard it, similar things. Oh, we'll start the year with Kevin Durant. You know what I haven't heard yet? And Brew, tell me if this is what you think's going to happen. We will end the year with Kevin Durant. I know that they are saying we'll go to training camp. We'll keep going. Do they think?
Why wouldn't they?
No,
though,
we've said.
Nick? Really, like if they start the year with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and they play well, if Ben Simmons, and there's some ifs, but Kyrie Irving and you don't seem to understand this. Kyrie Irving, you said nobody wants him except the desperate Lakers.
Yeah.
If he comes out and doesn't show up, doesn't play hard, doesn't play well, takes hiatuses, you think he's going to have a market next summer as a free agent? He's got to play well. He's got to rehabilitate his image.
Okay.
So why wouldn't they end the season if it's going well with those guys?
Okay, so first of all, I don't think they're getting to the season with these guys. But I do think if they do get to the season, they're not getting to the trade deadline with them. But here's what I think. I think it's a leverage play. I think when it comes to Kyrie Irving, you said what I don't understand. I'm going to say something that I say respectfully. I think the general public seems to miss with Kyrie Irving. Please stop assigning logical decision-making to someone who has consistently exhibited illogical behavior. I understand it is hard to sketch out a decision tree of this man, but the fact of the matter is it's like, well, here's what would be in Kyrie's best interest. Obviously, he's going to do that. I have no reason to believe that. And Wilds, here's what you want me to believe that the Nets might hold the line? What has prevented them from saying, guess what? We're not trading Kevin Durant. He's under contract. He's one of the best players in basketball. We're not trading him. Joe Tsai's phone break? Sean Marks has held a press conference. So the reason I believe they're trading him is because they are having talks with teams. It's not very often you have a guy that's an MVP candidate. You were in discussions with teams, and then it's like, you know what? He wanted out, and we were shopping him and looking for the best offer. Now instead, see you in October. Coach Nash has gassers for you guys to run. I just think they're trying to get the best available deal, which they should, but I don't think that Kevin Durant... Listen, I'm a season ticket holder. I'm incentivized for them to hold on to both of them. But I don't think it's happening.
Okay, so here's why I believe that Kyrie and KD might be on the Nets at the beginning of the season, and I think the Nets believe it too, Broussard. Because there's one puzzle piece in this puzzle of the Brooklyn Nets that just doesn't make any sense. It's like if you were doing a puzzle of marine life, and you're like, this piece looks like it's from the Eiffel Tower. It doesn't make any sense and doesn't necessarily belong here. And that piece is Steve Nash. Now, if the Brooklyn Nets were serious about, you know what? We need to start over. We need to pivot. What's the first thing that you do? You don't get rid of your superstar players. You get rid of the coach. That's what Charlotte did. That's what Sacramento did. That's what the Lakers did. And Utah, they didn't get rid of the coach, but it was a mutually agreed upon decision for Quinn Snyder to go because he saw the rebuilding writing on the wall. And when they got all those picks, he realized, you know what? This is a fundamentally different team. I'm not the guy to coach. But Steve Nash is still there because why? Surprise, surprise. He's the coach that Kevin Durant wants. So if the Nets were serious about pivoting, about starting over, about starting a rebuild, then why would Steve Nash still be there? It makes no sense. You would start with the coach. You would start with the coach early, just like Charlotte did. So, and I'm sure they could get rid of him later down the road, but that just is not how the timeline usually works. So I will think that the Nets are serious about pivoting when they move on from their coach that was handpicked by their superstar. And until that happens, I think, you know what? Steve Nash is still there. KD's still there. Kyrie is still there. I believe you, Broussard. I'm in your camp that the Nets start the season with KD. Maybe Kyrie.
Go ahead, Nick. You're champion at the bit.
No.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to make clear. I believe Brew on what he's reporting.
No,
I disagree with his conclusion on it. I want to make that clear. But the other thing I want to say is to answer Wild's question. And Brew, tell me if you agree with me on this. They didn't want to rebuild. They didn't want to tear it down. They got hit with a curveball when Kevin Durant asked for a trade the day of free agency. firing Steve Nash right now, to me, would not make sense. They clearly thought he had done a decent job. Frank Vogel got fired immediately. Charlotte's coach got fired immediately, and then they brought back their old coach. Like Quinn Snyder, the moment that season ended, we were talking, is Quinn Snyder leaving? He's like, I'm going to take a month to think about it. And then Danny let him know we're setting the whole thing on, moving the whole thing, 5 years down the road. So be it. Firing Steve Nash right now, to me, wouldn't make sense. And if I'm Steve Nash, I'd be like, what did I do to get fired all of a sudden? I was safe until Kevin Durant asked for a trade. And so, and so that's why I'm not looking at them not firing Steve Nash, Brew, as evidence that they're keeping Kevin Durant.
Well, I can't believe you fix your mouth to say Steve Nash is saying, what did I do? I think you've got a list of 37 things that Nash did or did not do to deserve to get fired.
Not what Steve Nash thinks he did. Yeah.
Look, here's the thing, Nick. You seem to think just because Kevin Durant asked for a trade, that gives him leverage.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.